Hey gang, AV here, and welcome to my review of the Warrior Skeleton, the Army of the Dead from Boss Fight Studios Vitruvian Hacks Series 1. Here he is in the packaging. As you can see, he is a carded figure. He is an adult collectible, so kids better not be watching this. Hacks is an acronym which stands for Highly Articulated Character Kit System. There is his name and his occupation right there. Some awesome artwork there on the card. Here's the figure itself in the bubble. I keep saying blister, but it's not. It's not a blister bubble. Some other accessories in a bag behind him. I have opened this figure before, but maybe not this particular one. So I'm not 100% sure that the contents of the bubble are going to be 100% accurate, because I went through a phase where I was just sorting everything into easy to find compartments and whatnot. So of my bin, my customizing bin. So I think he is the one that I have that I've never opened before. So we are going to find out right now. But anyway, here's the back of the card. I have a bad habit of rambling on when I do these things, and I apologize for that. He's got a file card on the back, which, as you can see, is roughly about the same size as your standard G.I. Joe file card. I love the fact that they include these things. If you want to read it, feel free to pause the video and do so now. So once again, I love the fact that they include these things. I think it's an excellent touch, and I wish more companies did it. It really helps to flesh out the line and give the figures a lot more character and everything. So here is a QR code, which will take you directly to the Boss Fight Studios store online shop. You feel free to use that if you wish. I do know that this figure is still available as of making this video. Here are other figures that may or may not be available if you happen to check that out on their store. I've already reviewed the River Styx Guardian. I have a Cursed Skeleton Warrior. I have this lady right here. I believe I have that version of the Spartan Warrior. So you're going to see other reviews from Series 1, but I will warn you, I don't have all of them. I was a little bit more selective when it came to these. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Let's get them opened. He's in collector-friendly packaging, so all you have to do is really fold up one of these plastic flaps. I usually do this one on the barcode side. Tuck it underneath the cardboard, and then slide the cardboard out. And there's the figure in his tray. Just pull the tray out. Oh, his sword came loose in the packet. And get that off to the side. Alright, as usual, we're going to have a look at his contents first, and then we'll get to the figure itself. Why did I do that? There we go. I'm going to have to take it out of the tray eventually, and I'm probably going to struggle with it, so why do I have to put it back in? Okay, so right here, you're going to see a figure stand and a bunch of these little clear plastic thingamabobs. I will demonstrate all of this after I get the figure out of the packaging. Here is a spear, which comes in a plastic sleeve to help prevent it from scratching up anything. It's a nice spear. Good coat of silver paint on either end. And it does have quite a point on it. Not so much that you're going to hurt yourself with it, I don't think. But it's a very sharp point. Very cool. Let's slip this back in there. Come on out. You're not going to cooperate with me, are you? Of course not. Why would you? All right, there you go. I'm making a video. Why would it cooperate with me? Here's his sword. It's very nice. Now, I could be wrong. I could have sworn that he would have came with a scabbard, too, I thought. Because, like I said, this is not the only one I've got. Here's a shield with an octopus on it. This is actually reminiscent of Jason and the Argonauts. One of the skeletons that actually fought Jason at the end of that movie had a shield very much like this. He has a helmet. Which is nicely painted. Not a lot of detail picked out in paint, but still it's nice. And here's the figure himself. Now, like I said, I think he was supposed to come with a sword and scabbard. Like a sword sheath, if you will. Could have sworn they would have. Unless I just added it to mine after I had opened it. I'm looking into the other ones I got. I don't think I see it. I don't think I have any with that packaged in there. I'm surprised. I really thought he came with a sword and scabbard, but I guess I was wrong. All right. Now, like I said before, the contents of that bag I was going to go over after I get the figure out. So, let's do that now before I forget, because it's pretty important. How am I going to open this without damaging it? Huh. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Nope. Don't want to lose any of these. All right. Let me angle this down so you can see what I'm doing. All right. So he's got several of these little nodules here. About 4 of those. And then 2 of these crescent things. Now, if you notice, these crescent things have a slot in there and a hole right there. Basically, what you're going to want to do is use these with the figure stand, because the figure does not have peg holes in its feet. So you need to use these in order to get the figure to stand. And I will tell you right now that the figure, it's difficult to have him stand on his own without his figure base. I mean, you can do it if you're patient, but he's not going to want to do it. He's not going to really cooperate with you like most of the other figures in the line. See, I mean, it is possible, but he's a lot more secure on the base using these things, which you can use by just sliding his feet into the gaps on those plastic crescent things, and then he stands perfectly fine. Now, these are meant to go over top of his bones. So you basically put them over his bone like that, and then you would slide the armor pieces on there. That prevents the armor pieces from looking loose. So you would take the figure apart, put this on, slide the armor over top of it, and that would prevent it from doing what this is doing right now. Why they don't put it on the figure, but when they put it in the packaging, I don't know. But that's what they're for. Same with his legs. As you can see, he can spin his shin guards all the way around. That's because these are made to go on top of the regular figures who have muscle and flesh. This guy has none of that. So those help simulate the bulk that a regular figure would have. And I'm going to move these off to the side now, just so I don't lose them. And we're going to have a look at the figure itself now. As you can see, he is sculpted very well. Now, I will go over some good things and bad things about these figures. The good things are they are very well articulated, despite the fact that he's so small, so narrow. They did an excellent job of making sure that the fact that he was small did not hinder his articulation at all. That being said, you are going to want to be very careful because he is very fragile when you first open him up. And it doesn't feel like I've messed with this particular figure yet, so you definitely want to warm up those joints a little bit before you start working them, and make sure you know where that hinge is before you actually start to apply pressure to actually get it to move for the first time. I have personally, with the blank skeletons especially, and I think maybe one of these too, because I have a small army of skeletons. I have personally cracked off the elbows just by not being careful enough and trying to bend it where the joint was not. So you want to be very careful. You want to identify the joint before you actually try to bend it. But he does have very good articulation. And I'll try to go over that right now. So basically, he's got his head, which is on a ball joint. Does a full 360, can look up and down, like so. His jaw is articulated, so that can open and close. His arms can do a full 360, hindered slightly by his collarbone. He can put his arms down about that far and up about that far. He's got nothing at the bicep. His elbows do a full 360. Bend 90 degrees up and about that far down. I'm being very careful here. His hands are on a peg, so they do a full 360. And there's also a hinge, and this is another spot where you want to be careful. The hinge allows his hands to bend in and out. Very cool. He's got articulation at the top of his lumbar spine, so right where it meets the rib cage, if you can see that. He also has articulation at the bottom of his lumbar spine where it meets his hips. And that's important because I found that if you want to get him to really sit down or bend in half, the best way to do that is to spin at the top and then spin at the bottom. It's a little easier to demonstrate after I pop him in half. You just spin that lumbar spine that way and then pop it back, pop his rib cage back on. He's bending in half. I'm being very careful, like I said, because I just opened this guy. I don't want to break him. He is kind of fragile, but he's very well articulated. I am a big fan of these. All right, his legs are articulated there at the hips. Can't really see it because of his thing here, but they do go up. They can bend out about that far, and even in a little bit. He can do the can about like that. He's got oh no, I forgot. Yeah, he does have double jointed knees. Ooh, and there's tight. Ooh, they're tight. I don't want to force them. Let's try this leg. You can get him back pretty far. Get his heel back almost all the way, as you can see. A lot of range of motion there. This one is just a little too tight. I'm going to have to free that up after the video's over. I don't want to break it. His ankles can bend back and forward. And he's got a rocker joint on there. But it's a little stiff getting it to actually rock. I got it a little bit there. I think this figure's stiff mostly because of the black wash he's covered with. If you were to buy a blank figure that has not had paint applied to it yet, you'd be a little bit better off with the articulation. This guy, he's a little frozen. So there you are. I'm actually surprised at how well he's standing, frankly. Of course, now that I said that, he's going to fall over. But yeah, I love these figures. I can't say that enough. Even though they're fragile, even though I'm being so ginger with them, I'm telling you. I army build these guys. I like them a lot. They're probably my favorite thing about the boss fights figures, frankly. Here he is next to a standard 4-inch figure, G.I. Joe. Here he is next to a 3 3/4-inch figure, also G.I. Joe. As you can see, he's a 4-inch figure himself. He fits in more with the modern scale of figures than he does with the vintage scale of figures, because he is 4 inches and not 3 3/4 inch. All in all, I do highly recommend these figures. I think they're great. I think the detail and the styling of them is great. I love the fact that you can customize them with armor. I like the fact that they do include these things to make sure that the armor stays where you want it to be with a little effort. I wish they would do it on the figure before they put them in the package instead of making you have to do it, but I do like the fact that he comes with them. Really, I can't recommend them enough. This has been AV. If you like this video, check out my channel. If you like what you see there, then please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.